There have been a suite of law enforcement and criminal justice measures that we have put in place, and many of them are in fact working. And we will continue to put and bring other pieces of legislation. And the ones today that I am referring to specifically, we would have spoken previously to you that a consultative process on wireless intercept legislation and being able to use the intercepts as evidence in a law court is something that we would wish to pursue. There are different types of that legislation in the Caribbean, and indeed that draft was passed to the Advisory Council on Citizenship Security, chaired by Professor Newton. The subcommittee that has reviewed the legislation has finished their work. We are aware of that. And it has now to go to the full council. And once that is received by us through the Office of the Attorney General, the Cabinet and the Parliament will take the necessary steps to introduce that legislation, conscious that in many instances intel is available, but if you can't use that intel as evidence, there is then a lacuna, a break between what you can carry to court and what you know. And the government has determined that we cannot continue to have that situation obtained, and therefore we want to bridge the gap with the passage of the legislation. Once we get it back from that advisory council, that will move with dispatch. There are other pieces that they are reviewing, but at the same time, that is the most important one for us. The second most important thing is that we have come, we believe, close to the end, and we will now be setting a timeline with the issue of truth verification testing. There has been extensive discussions led by the Honorable Attorney General and my permanent secretary, who is the secretary to the National Security Council, with the workers, and with, in fact, thank you, with the workers' representatives, the unions, and it will also impact on private sector persons. And why? The truth verification testing is not focusing on any category of worker, it's focusing on persons who have access to certain secure spaces. And if you have access to certain secure spaces, then we need to ensure that you are acting with the integrity that we need you to act with, such that the rest of the society is not put at risk. The truth verification testing, therefore, is a fancy set of words, effectively for what? A lie detector test? A lie detector test. And therefore, it will be subjecting both public and private sector persons. We accept that persons cannot be forced in certain circumstances to do it, and therefore, if they can't work, they won't have access to those areas and may have to be placed in other jobs. But the AG will continue those discussions and set a timeline. We have also, on a parallel track, taken the time to build up the capacity, because you can't say that you're going to do truth verification testing and you don't have the people or the equipment to do it. And we have taken the time over the course of the last year to do the training, to get the equipment, and we are at a stage now ready to execute. And I expect, therefore, that the AG will be meeting with the unions in the next week